I know it's not Monday, but here's a book talk, some book talks for you. To start off with, I want to remind people that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Two of the books that I read this past week have to do with mental health issues. The first one is Backlash by Sarah Littman, and this book is one of those ripped from the headlines, based on true events stories. The main character is a girl who was bullied in middle school for various different things. She had a lot of struggles with depression during middle school, and now she's entered high school, and her former best friend is no longer her best friend, and some things have happened, but at the very beginning of the book, the very beginning of the story, we're coming into a scene in which the main character has attempted suicide. Her younger sister finds her before it's too late. They take her to the hospital. As she is being wheeled into the ambulance, her former best friend takes a picture and posts it to her Facebook to get likes. Most people would understand that that's completely unreasonable. Who would do such a thing? Sad thing is, people do that. People do that. I don't know why people do that, but they do. This book does a great job of exploring the issue, of talking about both sides, about talking about the girl who was going through the struggles and her recovery after. It also talks about the girl who took the picture, about what other things she did as well, and about the ramifications of those actions. So both sides of the story, the person who was struggling and the person who was not being very helpful to that person with her actions. So everything that happened, it was gripping, timely, very important. I would encourage everybody to read this book. Lots of things to discuss in classroom. Teachers, we have a classroom set if you want to use it in your classroom. We have a couple teachers that did use it last year, but definitely an engaging story. The other book that I read that deals with mental illness, I listened to this. It's called Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson, and it is read by the author. She is hilarious, but she also struggles with depression and anxiety, and she talks a lot about that in her book. It's really an adult book, but it's not so adult that I don't think teenagers could get it, especially if you are or if you know someone who struggles with depression and anxiety. And before I talk about my other two books, we're fixing to be out for the summer, and I understand there are some of you who will struggle because some of you, school is your place, So while we're out for the summer, if you have problems, call this number. There are people who will help you. We care about you. Other people care about you as well. Okay? So don't lose this number. Put it in your phone if you think you might at all have a reason to use it for yourself or someone that you love. The other books that I read, are much lighter, lovely fantasy. Shadowshaper by Daniel Older. He is typically a writer for adults. He writes urban fantasy. This book is based on a Caribbean legend of people who create art and then they have the ability to draw spirits into their artwork, okay? And through that, they give power to these spirits. Well, in this story, there's a girl who finds out that her family has this ability. And there's a crooked anthropologist character. You don't hear that often, an evil anthropologist. But he's trying to get power for himself and do things that, are not very good. One of my criticisms of this book is that there really wasn't a lot of depth to it. I would have loved some more character development, a little bit more exploration of the culture that we were talking about here, the Puerto Rican culture, Haitian culture, African culture. I would have loved just a little bit more of that. A lot of the book, one of the lines in the book is that it really just felt too easy. Well, I really felt this book was too easy. Like, everything just happened, it was like, oh, we're going to fight some dudes, and they're dead. Okay, we're moving on. So, really could have been more complex, but it would be great if you're just looking for something light and fast with some action and some magic. That was good. And then the last book that I read, I really loved this. If you have ever heard of the sci-fi show Firefly, you would probably like this. It is very reminiscent of Firefly. Also, if you have read the Cinder series, very similar in feel, okay? But it is set in space. The main character, she had gotten in some trouble right before she graduated from her academy. She didn't get to graduate. She instead left with some felony tattoos on her hands, which will forever mark her as a felon, obviously. You go a little bit in the book before you find out exactly what has happened, but in the very first of the book, in the first 70 pages, she has been taken on as an indentured servant by a boy who used to bully her in school. Okay, this kind of snobby guy. He had an award that was named after his dad at the academy, which she managed to get instead of him, so that caused some bad blood. But anyway, he takes her on an indentured servant so that she can get passage to the outer fringe where she's going to start a new life. However, things happen. She ends up kidnapping him and taking him onto a different ship. And she stuns him, so he's not going to remember the last 48 hours. So she actually convinces him that he is her servant, and she gets a little bit of payback on him, but we're just waiting for his memory to come back, because at that point, she's going to have a lot of explaining to do. But it's great. There's a lot of witty stuff. There's a lot of like narrow escapes and things like that. There is a little bit of action fighting, stuff like that. But if you like space sci-fi and you like light romance, not too heavy, and a lot of action, you'll probably enjoy this. So, and I will try to keep up my book talks over the summer with my phone. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do that, and we'll see you later.